Here's another very interesting looking vehicle. Let's get a couple of shots of it. A little bit about this beautiful car in the background.
Oh, it's a 1950 Buick. It was brought over here in 2019, which prior, before that, it was been in a barn for 50 years in Maine. The only thing that kept it in the condition it was parked on plastic. So there's no rust on it, no body filler. It's pretty much, as you see it, is what you get. It's on air ride suspension. I've put air conditioning in it, and I've just painted in a matte clear to seal it all up, and it's my daily driver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's not plastic like today's cars, is it?
No, no.
And
no.
your name is? I'm Barry, and you're?
Ray
Okay,
O'Brien.
thanks for Tell us about this wonderful Volkswagen. How old is it? How long have you had it, and what's the history?
Okay, so it's obviously a Volkswagen. It's a 1966. It's a Beetle. So
Might be an idea to give you.
two-door sedan. I picked it up about 18 years ago. Actually, paid $2,000 for it. So a bit of a bargain.
Wow.
The guy I got it from had actually done it up for his daughter, and she didn't want it.
Oh.
So I took it off their hands, and I've been driving it around ever since. I remember when I first picked it up, actually, I picked it up on a Wednesday against my hubby's advice. Bought it basically on the spot.
Smart lady.
Drove it home, and 2 days later I went on a road trip to Echuca, and my petrol pump broke. But funnily enough, I broke down right outside a guy who had a Volksy yard in his back.
And you had a spare engine in the back as well.
He had a spare fuel filter for me that I put on. So no, we just took it off the road about 3 years ago and gave her a bit of TLC, so new wiring and
Yeah, I noticed that.
refreshed the paint and did the interior and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good challenge. It was my build. My hubby became my assistant. So I learned a lot along the way and had a ball doing it, and yeah, it's a real passion.
Oh, good on you then. Thanks very much for sharing your story.
Cheers.
Okay, we're recording. So that is the history of that gun. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a breech loading rifle barrel gun,
Yeah.
and they're the projectiles which we picked up on the mud flat out over equivalent to the end of Esso's jetty up there.
Yeah.
And so the procedure around here is that this part here is purely a big hammer. So and inside there's a very coarse thread connected to this piece, and this winds it back, loosens off this block, which
Yeah.
is lifted out by the gun crew. The projectile's put in there, a block of powder's put in behind it, poked it up, and then they drop that back in, and then
Lock it back up.
lock it back up, and that jams that up there. They pour powder or whatever mechanism for firing it down there, and away they go and fire it.
Okay. And this was developed after cannons.
Yeah,
The next.
yeah. So there you are. Armstrong was the builder of the gun. And that's the Julie Burgess, which is in East Devonport, where in front of, just up the river a bit from where the ferry pulls up. If you get out of the ferry and you were driving from East Devonport over the bridge, you would see the Julie Burgess. They tipped about $2 million into restoring that. But that was 60 feet long, and this one's was 71 feet, and this was an older boat. But it went. That picture there is where it went up to New Guinea, went away in the to the war. The picture up there. The story with this is that Sebastiano Mirabella came out to Australia with the Italian. He was a conscript in the Italian Navy, and he came out. The Italian Navy were invited out for the opening of the exhibition buildings in Melbourne, and they were given about 10 days leave, the crews of the three ships, Italian ships, and he came down to Hastings on the fish dray that used to cart the fish from Hastings to the fish market in Melbourne. He came back on the fish dray and went fishing for his leave time, and then made his way back, of course, on the fish dray back and joined the ship again, and both himself and two other young fellas jumped ship with whatever method they used, and Sebastiano, or Yanna as he was nicknamed, he made his way back down here, and his family hid him on Churchill Island for about 6 months, taking him fishing on very regular basis, of course. Wow.